I don't expect you to understand. I just hope I can explain what it's like to be a man. It's a lonely road, and they don't care about what you know. It's not about how you feel, but what you provide inside that home.
Being a man is what you make it. You can't always live up to expectations. You try to please everybody while you struggle, so you fake it and end up out of balance, compromising situations. As a good man, do what he should, man. I'll give everything he has and do everything he could, man.
Breaking news from this morning. About an hour ago, we learned that President Biden has invoked executive privilege to prevent the American people from hearing the audio recordings of his testimony with Special Counsel Robert Hur. The American people will not be able to hear why prosecutors felt the President of the United States was, in Special Counsel Robert Hur's words, a, quote, elderly man with a poor memory, and thus shouldn't be charged. Just think about that for a moment. President Biden is apparently afraid for the citizens of this country and everyone to hear those tapes. They obviously confirm what the special counsel has found and would likely cause, I suppose, in his estimation, such alarm with the American people that the president is using all of his power to suppress their release. And rather than defend our closest ally at war, President Biden is using his authority to defend himself politically.
President Joe Biden has asserted executive privilege to block House committees from obtaining audio recordings of his own interviews with Special Counsel Robert Hur about Biden's handling of classified documents.
Evidence and the president himself put his memory squarely at issue. We interviewed the president and asked him about his recorded statement. Quote, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," end quote. He told us that he didn't remember saying that to his ghostwriter. He also said he didn't remember finding any classified material in his home after his vice presidency. And he didn't remember anything about how classified documents about Afghanistan made their way into his garage. My assessment in the report about the relevance of the president's memory was necessary and accurate and fair. Most importantly, what I wrote is what I believe the evidence shows and what I expect jurors would perceive and believe. I did not sanitize my explanation, nor did I disparage the president unfairly. I explained to the Attorney General my decision and the reasons for it. That's what I was required to do.
What happened to the party of democracy, putting democracy on the ballot? What happened to the party of transparency? What happened to what Biden and his administration said back in February? We have nothing to hide. Meanwhile, Trump has all of these sham trials that are launched against him. Meanwhile, Trump should have been afforded the same executive privilege about his classified documents in Mar-a-Lago, but no. Jack Criminal Smith gets to go after him, gets to indict him, gets to interfere with the election. Why the double standard here? This is absolutely huge, Nez Nation. Attorney General Merrick Garland asked Biden to block. This is the AG, the Attorney Generals, the so-called ethical king here, asking to block the release of the audio recording, citing concerns that making them public could prompt high-ranking White House officials to be less cooperative in future investigations. If you recall, Biden met with Hur for 5 hours last October and was questioned in detail about his practices around the use of classified documents and his recollections of where they were kept. In a report released in February 8th, the Justice Department announced that Hur decided not to seek any charges in the case. However, Hur's characterization of Biden in the report as a, quote, sympathetic, well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory, does that sound like the kind of description that you want for our executive-in-chief, our commander-in-chief? Somebody who is the leader of the free world, somebody who's to take this country into the future with strength, determination, conviction, and prowess? No, that's the vegetable in chief. Garland was facing the possibility of being held in contempt of Congress, which a lot of the GOP committee is still saying they're going to proceed with, for refusing to turn over the recordings in the face of subpoenas from the House Judiciary Committee and the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. Biden's actions effectively precludes any criminal prosecution of Garland for failing to comply with the subpoenas. That is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, bending the law to your will. That is what we call, ladies and gentlemen, taking advantage of the American people. That's what we call, ladies and gentlemen, the exact opposite of transparency. What do you have to hide, Tombstone Biden? If you're so confident that you are capable, that your cognition should have zero doubts, zero question marks, what do you have to hide? Why are you hiding this? Listen to what Representative Bishop of North Carolina says. Check this out.
This is a very simple matter. There is no ground whatsoever to withhold the audio tape. That tape must be quite something. If the administration, if the president has decided to assert executive privilege to keep it from the committee in the course of an impeachment inquiry, think about it. The basis for withholding the audio recording when the transcript has been furnished must rest on something about the recording that is distinct from the information contained in the transcript. For example, what if the committee had made a request for just a different copy of the transcript? Now, that's unlikely to happen, but no reasonable person would ask for it either. The president and the White House have contested what was said in the interview. The special counsel, in his report, predicated his decision not to prosecute an obvious violation of statute in the president's reading from classified information to his ghostwriter to satisfy the terms of his $8 million book retainer, on his finding that the president was elderly and forgetful. In other words, he placed tremendous reliance on what is called demeanor evidence. The president and the White House have viciously attacked the special counsel's characterization of the demeanor evidence. That is, whether and to what extent the president appeared to have limited capacity as a witness to testify from memory. Now, the transcripts do not capture demeanor evidence. Transcripts are often imperfect, especially to convey the timing of question and answer and disfluencies of a witness or hesitations, among other things. All of that is demeanor evidence. That's the reason, among other things, that it is absolutely standard practice in litigation in American courts for parties to be entitled to record testimony by more than one means. Given that the evidence is contradicted by the special counsel and by the president as to the reason the president has escaped criminal prosecution for an obvious violation of statute, and because this committee sits by vote of the House of Representatives to conduct an inquiry about the potential impeachment of the president, this committee needs the demeanor evidence the same way any party would in any such matter being litigated.
The funny thing is that Biden opted against asserting executive privilege over the transcript of his interview, as you heard from the representative there, despite this fresh effort to block the audio. And he asserted no privileges over any of Hur's report or its characterizations of the interview. So why are you blocking the actual audio? I completely concur with the representative. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of details that you cannot garner, and that transcripts can be imperfect, but that demeanor evidence, the hesitations, the characterization of how quick he is able to answer questions, the manner in which he answers questions is very telling. The fact that he's using executive privilege to hide that, to me, it says it all. But even worse, Biden has routinely waived executive privilege to permit congressional and Justice Department investigators to access documents and witnesses from Donald Trump's administration. Okay. It's okay if I do it, but no. He can't do it. Determining that an invocation of privilege was unwarranted for the former president, President of the United States of America, but you, Vegetable in Chief, you get to assert your executive privilege? That has included decisions against blocking former high-level Trump White House advisors from testifying to a grand jury convened by special counsel Jack Smith. It also included multiple determinations against asserting privilege to shield Trump White House documents from the January 6th Select Committee. You lion-ass dogs. What a bunch of hypocritical, corrupt, rotten to the core LADs. You're all being exposed. 2024, Cat Williams was right. 2024 is the year where it all comes to light. And it couldn't have come at a more perfect moment when we are going to kick your LAD ass out of the White House.
Back to Jan, what is there to hide here? Why not share this with the American people? We've seen this consistently in a variety of ways out here in DC, and this is another example of let's give the American people the full information. I think the White House very much fears seeing President Biden having this tape revealed to the American public and what it will say about President Biden. We see a president who's in decline. It's obvious to all Americans. I think they're very fearful of what this would look like to the American public. That's why they're exercising their executive authority.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have a commander-in-chief right now. We have a vegetable-in-chief. Shame on you. I don't blame the president. All accounts and all records and all information and intelligence that I've garnered, and even dealing with a father myself who can be a bit boorish and a bit resistant to change, have demonstrated time and time again that the individual who's experiencing this decline tends to fight back, tends to resist, especially when you got an ego and hubris that Tombstone Biden has. I don't actually blame him as much as I blame all of his enablers, his staff, his cabinet, his vice president, you cackling commie, and maybe even worse than all of them combined, you, Dr. Jill Biden. This is elder abuse. That's what this is. I also blame the Clinton-Obama Oprah consortium, the woke mind left virus mafia. Shame on all of you. You're allowing this shuffling, mumbling, stumbling vegetable to literally enact the decay and decline, not only of his entire administration, but our beautiful, wonderful country. And why? I've been saying it for years. These woke left mind mafia, they only care about one thing. I've worked with them. I know them. I know them through and through. They only care about one thing, power. Two things, power and retaining power. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me. Not one iota. We need to take action. We need to make patriotism go viral. You need to tap the thumbs up. You need to share this with everybody you know. People don't realize who they're voting for. People don't realize that if we give our vote to this vegetable-in-chief, we are voting essentially for the decline of our American republic. That can't happen. Not on my watch. I'm going to fight with every fiber of my being. The way that you can fight is by tapping the thumbs up and sharing. Why? Because we need as many people to be aware of what's really going on. Mainstream media doesn't talk about this stuff. They just convolute and they skew it to their own means and their own aims. The time is now. The election is less than 6 months away. The time is now. So I throw this off to you, Nez Nation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. As long as you are respectful, as long as you're productive and constructive in your comments, I will allow any comment on my channels. I want there to be debate. I want there to be engaged discussion, collaboration. If you attack ad hominem personal, you're done. You're blocked. You're out of here. I don't have time for that. But I don't mind if you oppose me. I don't mind if you disagree with me. As a matter of fact, I encourage that. Why? Because I think that's the best way this country can come together, is through actual discourse and conversation that is intelligent, productive, constructive. That's what I think. So let me know in the comments down below. Make sure that you subscribe to our free newsletter before you go. That's in the pinned comment. in the description and the show notes. Also, if you want to become a member, you get a lot of beautiful perks and exclusive content, a lot of good stuff, and access to our exclusive members only Discord and a whole lot more. And it only costs you a cup of coffee to support the channel, and you get all those perks. So check that out. That's in the links in the pinned comment, description, and show notes. Check out these videos coming up on the screen right now. Follow, subscribe. As always, God bless you, and may God bless America. I'll see you soon.